That's kind of the main picture. That's what everyone else really came for.
Yeah.
Do you want to click record on your mic?
There's some really good mics they have.
And you just put it vibrate?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There you go. It's
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Oh, no, yours is not recording now.
Oh, okay, so I'll turn it off. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, good with that?
Yeah. 1, 2.
Is that loud enough?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Okay, cool. Are we live on everything?
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard for me not to rock.
We just rock together.
We should just rock together.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I
Alright,
would get you to sit a little bit closer.
a little closer. Does that
You
work for you?
I move over, she moves over.
Just, yeah.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Zone frame? Okay. Cool, alright. We're going to do this for YouTube too, so.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Alright, so I'm here with Julian. So the way I understand it is you're the inventor of doing pyrolysis in this way with microwaves.
Indeed.
This is crazy. Like, how did you come about this process?
Well, it all started when I was in my junior year of high school.
Okay.
I had an injury, so I wasn't able to do much physical activity, and I'm always a very physical person, so I took the time to research. And I've always been an environmentalist, so I started to think of, how can we deal with the ocean plastics? Because I saw that, less than 5% of plastics are recycled, and I asked why. Well, then when you really think about it, plastics get so dirty, like masks, medical equipment, plastic with food on it. You can't really take that and turn that into a new plastic because it's contaminated. So I thought the way that we can truly deal with any type of plastic is through something that universally, indiscriminately destroys all plastic. And the first thing you think of is fire. But we know what happens if you burn plastic. A lot of toxic emissions. So what's the next best thing? This process called pyrolysis, which is when you heat up plastic without oxygen in the environment. So a fire cannot form. The plastic cannot catch on fire. Instead, it breaks down into its basic parts.
Okay. Wow. I feel so educated on this now. Okay, so yeah, can you just elaborate, like, what exactly is the problem with plastic and why are you so drawn towards finding a solution for this?
I think the biggest issue with plastics is in this world, plastic was such a magic product when it came out. It solved so many issues. It still is amazing, in everything that it's in. And the biggest issue is we've ramped up production to a crazy degree, but we never really figured out a way how to truly recycle it. In fact, there's like 7 or 8 different types of plastics, and the plastics that we actually do truly recycle, there's just 2 types, really. So we barely recycle, but we produce so much, and as we know, it's non-biodegradable, and it's seen as a waste product, and that's why there's billions of pounds of it in the ocean. And then when I found out that it's made of crude oil, that's what really made me say, you know what? We have to extract that energy out of it. Nobody really cares about making another water bottle out of plastic if you know that you can make gasoline, diesel, jet fuel out of plastic.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I love it. Taking that energy back out of it and using it in a way that we can. So a lot of people would say, okay, but you're still burning it. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Well, what I say to that is, yes, we are still burning it. It is a fossil fuel because it comes from crude oil. However, with complete combustion and going through a modern engine with a catalytic converter, the real only emissions are going to be CO2 and water vapor. And as we know, CO2 is a greenhouse gas that contributes to climate change. However, CO2 is actually the most manageable greenhouse gas. The truth of the matter is plastic, when left out in the ocean or in landfills, it breaks down under photodegradation from the sun. It slightly breaks down and it starts to release methane and ethylene. There's research papers on this. And those things are far worse than CO2, like 40 times worse than CO2, and we can't get them back out the air. But CO2, we can plant trees, we can grow algae, we can suck it out the air and make bricks out of it. So there's things we can do with CO2, things that we should be doing anyway, like planting trees. So that's handleable, but I don't think that what's manageable in our world is to continue this absolute disrespect of Mother Earth and the oceans by just needlessly having continents of plastic in the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, it's to a point now where it's too. I was like, it's much better off being burned and utilized in the way that we can utilize it. And then as long as we manage it, you know, obviously we need to be planting trees and doing things, then I think it's a much better option. So good for you.
Thank you.
I'm curious, like, yeah, what drives you? Just like you want to make a change. Like, what is it? You're so young. You're only 20, right? So
Right.
yeah, what is it driving you?
What has driven me has always just been my connection with nature.
Okay.
You know, I'm a gardener.
Yeah.
I always find myself a forest walking, and, you know, just talking to the trees and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
I love
Talking to my seedlings, and being in nature my whole life and just appreciating it. Something I realized in nature is nature has this cycle, this universal cycle which echoes throughout the whole universe, and that is no waste. Every single thing in nature becomes the food for something else, the energy for something else, because nature understands that everything is energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if you're just throwing something away, you're losing the energy. You're kind of breaking that loop. So I say it like this: the trees fall off the leaves onto the ground. Those leaves on the ground break down and turn to fertilizer for those same trees, for the next trees, and that goes on. It's just the carbon cycle, the water cycle, the energy cycle. It's all the same. And we in society have not had the ability to do that because we have not had a true return to source of energy with plastic.
I love this. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're starting a regenerative farm too, so it's exactly that. Like everything works in unison together,
Yes.
and no energy is lost. And nature knows exactly how to do all of this. It's just when we isolate things and we try to do it better, we don't know better. We need to just be looking at nature and be like, okay, girl, show us.
Yeah, biomimicry ultimately, because all the answers that we need are right there in nature.
Yes.
Um,
So cool.
yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I am curious, and I've been getting a lot of questions about just how do you see this, a microwave pyrolysis reactor being applied in the real world? Do you feel like it's actually viable?
I do, and I'll tell you why. Because the process of pyrolysis, turning things back into fuel, has been around since the beginning of Earth. That's how Earth turned algae and such into crude oil to begin with, right? The only issue with it on a technological level, we as humans try to develop it, has been its efficiency. It hasn't been worth it energetically because it would take more energy in than the energy you would get out. So I innovated in the field from standard pyrolysis, which is when you just use a flame to heat things up, or just like resistive coils, like oven heaters, pretty much to heat things up. I innovated the microwaves. I'm not the first to do microwave pyrolysis. However, I'm the first to create a design of microwave pyrolysis that is scalable on a level that it can be made as big as it needs to be, as small as it needs to be, and it's always efficient. So, for example, this machine here, built on a home scale from scrapyard parts, handmade, the energy input for a run of plastic would be 25 kilowatt hours of electricity. And the output from all three products combined, the gasoline, liquid product, the gaseous product like natural gas, and then the carbon product, which is like coal and can be burned that way, together was 48.8 kilowatt hours. So we were getting almost double the energy outputs from compared to the input. So that was the number one thing holding it back, and that's why this is going to be viable, because as you make these machines bigger, it only becomes more efficient.
Okay. Right on. So you're gonna build me one or what?
Of course, right for your farm.
We're gonna need it for the farm.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And yeah, I'm just curious, like, what exactly is your vision for this? Like, what are your ideas? How do you want to see it used in the world? Just curious about that.
I want these machines to be in every single country, every single city, every single province on this earth. And I say that because I believe that plastic should be dealt with at the source. We don't need to have one giant centralized machine. These machines they're pretty safe when they're built properly, and ultimately they can be the type of thing that's like behind a store or something, right? So the store doesn't even need to have a garbage truck. They're plastic right there. And I think that ultimately, if we have these machines so common throughout the world, there's not going to be any litter anymore. Because when there's litter on the ground, somebody can say, that's energy, that's money. let's take that, and I want to monetize plastic. You know how back then we could take glass jars, metal cans to the recycling yard, they give you a couple cents for it.
Yeah.
I want that to be the same with plastic. I want to monetize people collecting plastic and bringing it in. And I believe that having these machines everywhere and having them at the efficiencies they are, we can pay people to bring us plastic and completely not only remove all ocean plastics, but stop litter of plastics altogether because it's money.
That's interesting. I mean, it makes me think about, some of these countries where we give them all of our trash. Potentially now they have something very valuable that we could actually give back to them, some money to
Right.
help them out.
Yeah, because a lot of third world or developing nations in Africa and in Asia, we in the U.S. ship our trash to them, and they're just it's littered full of it, and they also have shortages of fuel. So now, not only are they, going to be able to develop as a nation economically, but now they're not going to have such an issue with shortage of fuel because this creating fuel right there. They don't have to import as much because it's being created right there.
That's crazy. Okay, cool. Quite visionary. Let me see what else I have here. I'm just curious, what is it like to be 20 in 2024? I'm just curious. This is a little just more about you.
To be 20 in 2024, I never actually thought about that. To be honest, I never really thought about what it's like to be 20. Because I certainly do feel a lot older than 20.
You seem a lot older. Not in a bad way. Like, you're just so, you hold yourself so well.
Thank you. How does it feel to be 20? Well, I must say it like this. We live in the age of information and disinformation. I learned all that I learned not through any type of formal education or degree. I learned it purely online through finding research papers on Google. So the truth of the matter is, thank you. The truth of the matter is that we right now are in the times where we can be distracted the most, or we also can create the most because we have the internet. And this generation and the following generation, Generation Alpha, we're so like technological with the internet, like we know how to use it so well. Babies know how to use it. So like, if we apply our minds right to it and have the right motivation, every single person can end up, doing something like this because we have all the information we need to right there. Like tons and years, millions of dollars of information just at our fingertips for free. If you know how to look stuff up.
Seriously, if you just have the time and just put some energy into that, you
Yeah.
can become a master on building one of these. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. What does individual responsibility mean to you? How do you relate to that?
I think individual responsibility is huge, and it's one of the most important factors of how I was able to build this, because ultimately nobody is going to care about you as much as you need to care about you when it comes to anything you do. Ultimately, we are truly responsible for what our life is going to be. We have to decide if we're going to go out there and work and achieve what we want to achieve, and to have that responsibility within yourself and that discipline within yourself to say that, you know what, I'm going to get this because I want to do this, and I'm not going to let things distract me. I'm not going to let the failures stop me. I'm just going to keep going until it happens. Just to have that within you, it's the keystone to doing anything, to being successful in any endeavor in this realm.
Absolutely. Cool. Love it. How can people help you and support you?
I do have a GoFundMe. I have a Patreon. I have a PayPal donate link as well. All those things are in bio. Ultimately, the number one way people can support me is by, being engaged, watching their content, engaging with it, commenting, just believing in the project. Because ultimately, beyond anything else, if I don't do anything else, I want the whole world to know that this is possible. So many people don't even know that, plastic comes from crude oil. So education is the best thing. So just being here is supportive.
Cool. Love that. The last question I have written down is, Julian, what is the best part about being you?
Good question there. What's the best part about being me? I would say that the thing that I admire the most about myself is certainly my drive. When it comes to anything I do, whether it was this or my businesses before or gardening, when I want to do something, I make it happen because I work relentlessly until it gets there. I keep trying. I don't give up. We just ran that diesel truck, and I've been at that for 2 years. So many rejections, so many, failures, but it was just the postponing of success ultimately because it happens. So I think that's what I admire the most about myself, that when I want something, I just will never give up until I get it.
I love that. Good for you. I'm
Thank
super inspired by what you're doing, and I'm so glad to just get to be a part of it. You know, I find a lot of joy in just getting to be around somebody who is so driven and who's taking individual responsibility on something that they see. You know, I want to find a solution for this, and I just want to support that. So hell yeah. And
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for letting me help you. And do you have any other questions, anybody?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank
Great.
you so much for letting me
Thank
ask
you.
these questions.
Absolutely.
An exclusive interview with the Julian Brown. I'm honored.
NatureJab.
Let's go.
Shoo.
Good stuff, guys.
All right.
Thank
Someone
you.
on YouTube chat said they could hardly hear you.
Well, they probably won't be able to because we're
Okay.
far away. It's okay. We have to link the audio later.
Also, I know this was live. Wait,